just put recording and then share screen. Okay, need to find the note. Okay, so today we will continue our discussion about data aggregation. Okay, last class, I believe we started aggregation discussion. Yeah, if you recall. So last class, we already started data aggregation, and we discussed some group by method, okay, if you recall, okay. And so today we will continue our discussion. Okay, so there are a couple of things regarding which column you select, like for group by, and how you can do it with data frame. So over here, there are two ways if regarding specific column or a number of column if you want, okay. And you can either do like you first have group by, and you specify some criteria for the group by, is it? And then you do square bracket with the selected column, okay, or a number of columns. Or what you can do is second option is you select the column out, is it? And then you do group by, okay, so either way will work, okay. So that's what this part try to show is that you can select a column or subset of columns, is it? And the two options, you can go ahead and do it, okay. And here, then let's take a look. So we have this data frame. So this is a data frame. And if you take a close look, column 1, column 2, is it? And the column 1, they have A or B, is it? And the column 2, you have 1 and 2, is it? And if you can, and over here, we do group by what? Group by column 1, is it? Key 1 column, okay? And on which column you're going to do group by? You're going to do this column. So basically the other column, we kind of don't consider about our group by. And also be careful, okay, for group by, it's for aggregation. So generally speaking, you're going to apply some aggregation function like mean. If you don't specify, if we don't have the sum, then by default it's mean. Okay, and here we are not going to do mean. So what over here we try to do is try to do summation. Okay, to do summation. And you can also do minimum, maximum, count, etc. of those. So anyways, for aggregation, okay. So then we have the result. So you see, it's grouped by either A or B and the summation, etc. So quite clear here. And then next, let's take a look at the next one, okay. So the next one shows that you can also select the other column, the data 2 column, okay. So that's also fine. And we can also select multiple keys, is it here for both column, key 1 and key 2, is it? You can select 2 columns for group by, and over here we say, okay, we are going to do data 2 as a column, and it's going to find the mean. And then these 2 group by keys, then they will become what? The hierarchical index. index, is it? So we have two levels of index, and these are all the means based on the group. Okay, so that's regarding this example. And then next, let's see. So over here, you can also do group by, is it? And here you select the columns that you want to based on group by. And then what? And then you select the columns that you're going to do the group by. And here we have the result, is it? And it's by default, it's me, okay. Okay, so just give us multiple ways you can do group by. And what next one try to show is you can also do grouping with dictionaries. Okay, so let's take a look. So we have this data frame. That's data frame you random 5 by 5, etc. And then you have column and you have index, etc. So basically, anyway, so this is the data frame. And within the data frame, you also manually assign certain cells as nav values. Okay. Okay, so over here, be careful. Okay, the data frame itself, the columns are A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and the index labels are people's name, is it? And let's take a look here, this mapping. What is this mapping? This mapping, you are going to map the column index to what? To some other string, is it, using color? So basically, you create a color mapping with A, B, C, D. So this is what? This is a Python dictionary, is it? So you create a dictionary and you can do group by. And we are going to do group by using this mapping. So instead of the original column, is it? And you're going to use this dictionary to do the mapping. And along which axis, okay, you say you're going to do group by color, okay, by color. And for the color, if you take a look, then here you have repetitive color, is it? So A map red, B map red, C map blue. So you have some repetitive, is it? So you have 3 red and 2 blue, is it? Versus original, you have 5 different columns, is it? And now after you do mapping, you only have 2 categories, is it? And this doesn't map with any of the original columns, is it? So that's why you can do the group by, as a group by the column. And along the column, is it? So axis 1, is it? And you're going to do what? You're going to do the summation, is it? And that's how the result you will have red and blue, okay? Okay, so that's regarding, you can use dictionary to do group by mapping, is it? And let's see, okay, and then, okay, then you use that mapping to generate a series, and we call it map series, is it? And you can also say, okay, I'm going to group by this series. That's what we previously said, that you can do group by with dictionary, or you can also use series to do the group by, is it? And because you use the mapping, the series, then you have the A, B, C, D, E, is it? And you also have the color, is it? So this is considered as a series. And this part is the label part, index label part, is it? So that's why here you can also do the group by, is it? And this time you do count instead of summation, okay? Okay, so that's group by. And we say you can also use a dictionary or mapping to do group by. And what next one see shows is you can also group by with some function. So you can specify function. Is it? So let's take a look. And if you recall that previous one, that people, is it? We have A, B, C, D, E. Then we here have person's name. Is it? Different people's name, okay, for each row, is it? And then we say, okay, we want to group by. Group by says what? It says length. What is that length? That length is regarding the index. Is it regarding the index? Okay, so it's people's name. And then you do the summation. Now you will see the result. Is it? You don't have people's name. You only have, okay, 3-letter name or 5-letter name or 6-letter name, is it? And each corresponding column, okay. So that's what the you can also group by with function, okay. So here it shows the original data frame. Okay, with the data frame, and over here, we also have a list. So this is a list, 1 and 2, is it? And it says it matches the name list. And then you're going to do what? I'm going to group by first level, is it? So here, when you do group by, you have 2 levels, is it? Because this is a list, not an individual one. So you're going to group by length and also group by whatever this list provided. And you're going to do what? To do minimum count, okay. So then you can see, because over here of a group by, there are 2 categories for you to do group by, is it? One, so this regarding that length, name length. And the second one is from this list. Is it? This list you have 1, 2, 1, 2, is it? And then this basically give you what? This give us the hierarchical index. Is it? So the result has hierarchical index, okay. Okay, so that's regarding group by. You can use function. You can also use series, is it? And what next one try to show is that you can also group by index level. Okay, so let's take a look. So this is a data frame, is it? And the data frame created with this column. The column is multi-index, okay, multi-index. So it has 2 levels. It has name and tenant. Name, it has a city and tenant, is it? So here we have city, we have tenant for column, okay. So in this case, the column is hierarchical. Okay, so it's multi-index, okay. Multi-index, okay. And so anyway, so we have this data frame, okay. The data frame look like this. And you have this data frame look like this, then you can do also group by, is it? And you say, okay, which level is it you want to specify for the column? And because it's a long column to do group by, okay, because you have 2 levels, then you say, okay, I want to based on the city and then do count, is it? So here is the result, okay. So here's it just shows with multi-index, okay, then you can also plug in with this argument called level, okay, and then specify, do the aggregation, okay. And what the next one try to show is data aggregation, as we already saw a number of examples. So aggregation, like previously I explained, it's for scalar values, is it? From some collection over here, like array, is it? Then you can do mean, do count, do minimum, do maximum, do sum, is it? So it's not to keep the original raw data, it's you also do some calculation, okay, aggregation. That's what data aggregation means. Okay, so let's take a look the more example. So we have this data frame. We already see it a number of times that we have 4 columns, that key 1, key 2, data 1, data 2. Okay, and then you said I want to group by the first column, key 1, because it has A and B. Is it A and B? And here it gives us the result. Is it? And yesterday we learned you can do the loop. Is it with the group by result? Is it with group by the result? And this shows you, is it, in detail about each group's result. And then what the next one try to show us is, then based on the result, is it, you can also do the percentage, not to keep the original result, you do some percentage, is it? So that's what this result show. Because if you just do the group by, this is not the original, okay, the mean or summation or something, is it? This is already 90% of the original, okay? So original calculated result, is it? Because over here is you already aggregated, okay? So the result is already aggregated. And on aggregated result, you further take 90%. That's how you can do it, the quantile, okay? Okay, then next, let's see the next one, okay? And over here, we define a Python method, as we call peak to peak. Okay, so it's the offset between maximum and minimum value. Okay, minimum value. And you can also, so the aggregation not just limited on some mean or minimum maximum. Okay, so you can also define our own aggregation function. Okay, so this is the definition of our own aggregation function. So it's the maximum minus the minimum. So offset, is it offset? So we have the original, is it? We have the original, and then we do what? Then if you want to, so that's grouped, is you grouped the data, is it? After you group the data, you want to apply what kind of application? This time, you are not going to apply summation or mean something. Is it? What you are going to apply is this peak to peak function. Okay, so then you will have the result. Okay, so that's what this one trying to show. You can also define your own one. Okay, your own one. And then what next one try to show is, when you define your own, you can also apply multiple functions, not just a single one, okay, and column wise. So let's take a look. So first, anyway, so this we previously, when we do plotting, in plotting section, as that we also saw this tips example, okay. So anyway, so this is part of the data frame, okay. So part of the data frame, and it has like total bill, tip, smoker. So this is yes or no, is it? And the day, Sunday or Saturday or Thursday or Friday, and time is dinner or lunch or breakfast, is it? Group size, and this is tip percentage, is it? So all of this. Okay, so that's anyway original data frame. And if you call the group by, is it? So you call group by what? You can group by day and the smoker. Is it? A day and the smoker. So here it shows, is it? smoker yes or no, is it? And based also on day, is it based also on day? And give us the result, is it? So that's what, and we can take a look, is it? So this part shows us each of the group, is it based on the day and the smoker or not, is it? And here you have the data, is it original data, okay? So that's what this loop gave us, okay? The detailed information. And then I just pick based on the group for the tip percentage. Then you're going to apply what? You said, okay, I just want to do the mean calculation. Then you will have the mean calculated result, is it? And it's grouped based on day and smoker or non-smoker. Okay, over here for the aggregation, I just plug in a single function. Okay, you can also apply multiple function for aggregation. Okay, so here we plug in 3 functions. Okay, multiple function for the aggregation. So that's also allowed, is it? Then in this, because a lot of time you want to get some statistic perspective about your aggregated data, is it not just limited to sum, is it, or mean single one, is it? Then in this case, you can call this aggregation function and then plug in the mean standard deviation that pick to pick as a user defined function. And then based on the group, okay. So we can see it's very flexible, okay, provide us multiple ways. And you can also redefine your method, is it, with aggregation. And if you want to give it a rename the method mean to full, standard deviation to bar, is it? How do we do it? Then for the aggregation, this is tuple. Okay, for the tuple, then you can kind of provide the mapping. Then the result will show as full and bar instead of mean and standard deviation. But actually full is mean. The bar is that standard deviation, okay. So here just because sometimes for your output, maybe you want to make it some other name, is it? So that user can easily understand the name. And over here, it also shows, is it not just a single, you can also provide multiple columns to do multiple function aggregation, is it? Then in this case, you pick out the columns, is it? And then so this function is a list, is it? Does count mean and maxi, and also based on 2 different data, is it? So basically over here, you have multi-index. Multi-index, is it, for column? So column is hierarchical. Is it, for column? Okay, so that's that's for the result part, is it? And you can also get the percentage, get it out. And similar, is it? You can also rename, is it, using tuple, is it, using tuple to rename. Then you won't have a mean and the standard deviation, is it? So you provide some, maybe you want to do translation, is it? Then this is translated, is it? Okay, so just give us multiple approaches. And what next one try to show is you can also use a dictionary. So here you do aggregation, is it? Aggregation, then you select, okay, this is for the tip percentage column. So you're going to do scalar data. So that's scalar, size is also scalar data, is it? And this part is your aggregation function. Is it aggregation functions? Okay, and you can also provided just use dictionary. They use a dictionary to provide this. And it will also be done the group by similar as what we saw previously. Is that here just to show you have multiple options to achieve the same goal. Okay. Okay, and what next one try to show? Previously, we show after we do group by with multi-level index, etc., and you will have a hierarchical output, etc. But sometimes you may not want the hierarchical, etc. You just want to have single level, etc. In that case, you can also do like as index, you set it as false. Is it? So even though you're going to do group by day and smoke, is it here? But you will see the result is not hierarchical, is it? So result is flat, not hierarchical. Here, is it? But this is for index, okay? Because otherwise these two will go to that index level, is it? And now these two just show as what? Just show as column, is it? But it's still group by if you see the result, is it? And the subgroup, is it? Subgroup. Okay, it's not just random distributed. Okay, so that's what you can set using the as index as a false. Okay, what is the next one? Try to show it. Sometimes you can split first, is it, and apply some method, and later on you want to combine together again, is it? So how do we do that? So anyway, so over here you define a method on a data frame, is it? A data frame, and you are going to do this method going to do some sorting, is it? And the sort you can specify by whatever the column, is it? You pass in, and you are going to take the last n rows, is it? That's what. By default, it's 5. By default, the column name is tip percentage, is it? But if it is a different data frame, then it's a different column and different number of rows, okay? And here it says, okay, I'm going to apply with the tips data frame. So this is data frame. Tips data frame. And instead of 5 rows, we are going to use 6 rows. Is it? I'm going to sort 6 rows, the last 6 rows. Last 6 rows. Is it? And here is the result. Okay. And then after that, is it? And you say, okay, I'm going to do group by, is it, on the original data frame by smoker, by that specific column, is it? Then what? Then you are going to apply whatever that method, that function you defined, is it, for the grouped data. Then you can see, is it, the result. Is it the result is based on smoker or non-smoker? And it will only take what? 6 rows. Is it? And the last 6 rows. And already sorted. Is it sorted based on what? On tip percentage, if you take a look. Is it? It is sorted. So this is in ascending order. Is it? So that's what this part means. So it's kind of the whole procedure, this apply. Is it kind of involve what? You need to do split. Is it? And you then do some aggregation, do some grouping. Is it? And then you combine again. Is it? Combine again. So that's what this part try to show. Okay. And you can, so it's going to be more flexible, is it? Then you can group by, this time group by 2 criteria. and then apply that method, that function. And this time, instead of 6 rows, I will only pick last 2 rows. Is it? And the column, not tip percentage. This time I'm going to use total view. I'm going to use this total view to do sorting. Is it? And then you can see you will only have 2 row result. Is it for each of the group by result? Is it? Okay, so that's regarding this part. And this description, so pretty straightforward. And you can also still call stack and unstack, okay. And make it wide or make it longer. So previously we also discussed. And previously, if you recall, for the want the flat, because a lot of time after group by, you will have hierarchical result, is it? And if you don't want the result be hierarchical, you can set it to flat, is it? And here you have another way. You can also say, oh, the group key, I don't want it to be hierarchical, is it? I just want it to be flat because this is based on smoke, is it? So I'm not going to do hierarchical. Then you can just say, oh, okay, group of key, you also set it as false, is it? So here just shows different approaches. And what the next one shows, we can also do quantile calculation as a bucket calculation. So let's take a look what this part means. Okay, so we have this data frame, original data frame. It has 2 columns, is a data 1 and data 2, is it? And over here, you call the cut method on the data 1 part, on this part, is it? And you cut into what? 4 group, is it? 4 interval. And then the result is going to be, so you're going to take the 10, if we do slicing here, is it? Then what the result show is the different interval, is it, for the original data, okay? So that's this quantile, okay, means. And what the next one try to show is you define a function, and this function return what? Return a dictionary. And for the dictionary, you define minimum, maximum, count, and the mean, is it? And basically, this dictionary's value part is what? Is function, is it? Is function. And then, okay, I'm going to group by using that quantile data, is it? And then what? You are going to apply this, because if you recall, for group by result, you can also apply the method, is it? To do the aggregation, is it? Okay, so here the aggregation is based on mean, maximum, count, and minimum, is it? And the data part, is it? It's already what? We already, because that quantile, if you recall, is it? It's already category, it's 4 intervals. This is 4 intervals. It's not not a scalar anymore. Is it? Not a scalar anymore? So that's why over here you can do the group by, is it? And this part is based on data 2 column, is it? That 2 column. Okay, so this is quantile and categorical data. And what is the next one? The next one try to show is you can also do the Q-cut, is it? Q-cut is quantile cut, is it? And based on how many you want, is it? Here it says 10. Initially you have 1,000 data, is it? And you want to divide it into 10 groups. Is it 10 groups? That's what this Q-cut does, is it? And then you are going to group by with this quantile, is it? So you're going to have 10 group, is it? 10 group. So that's why over here, that's what this result, you will have 10 group, and each group we have 100 items, is it? And this is aggregated result on the previously original data, okay. Okay, and what the next one is, if you recall, is it, we call the data cleaning. And the data cleaning is for nav values. Is it, how do we deal with them? Is it you drop, or you can also fill nav values? Is it, and you can specify like use mean values to fill. Is it, so here it shows an example. And here you can also set use group specific values. Is it, that's what the next part to try to show. Okay. So over here, you define some a list with a state, is it? And here, then you do the, this is repetitive, okay? So duplicate east and west, is it? So that the map, because you totally have 8 states. 8 states, and you divided the east group and the west group, is it? Okay, so we have this series, we are going to use the states, is it, as the index, okay? And then next you said, I'm going to assign some value like Vermont to NAP, is it, and Nevada also to NAP, is it, Idaho also to NAP, is it, that's what you're going to update the values, okay? And then what over here said, so this is a group key. So group key is east or west, okay, keep that in mind. And then you said, I'm going to group by with the group key, is it, with the group key, and then find the aggregation for the mean result, because group key is what, is either east or west, is it? That's how you come up with the result, okay? And then what next one try to show is you can use group specific, like mean or sum or something, is it, to do the field NA, is it, to do the field value. So here you group by east or west, is it, group by, and then you said, okay, what I want to apply this field NA lambda expression I define. This lambda expression pretty simple. You just do some field NA with the mean value. But be careful, this mean is group specific. Okay. So it's group specific. It's either east or west. Okay. So Vermont, is it, Nevada, if you take a look, and Idaho, these two get the same. That's because the east mean value or the west mean value. Okay. And the next one shows similar, is it? And you can also provide a dictionary for east or west, is it? And then you group by and you apply the filling with what? You're going to fill value, is it? You call this a field value, is it? And based on the name, but it's going to do the group, is it? That's why over here, do you see Nevada field with -1, is it? And the Vermont and the Idaho, and the Vermont, it belongs to east, is it? So that's why it's filled with 0.5, is it? Okay, so this is regarding more filling data. Sampling and permutation has nothing to do with our, not a lot related with our aggregation. So next, you can also group weighted average, okay, and the correlation. So let's take a look. So over here anyway. So we have this data, is it original data? Original data, is it? And this is a weight definition column, okay. And then what is the next one? Try to show, okay, you're going to group by that category, is it? And here I define a lambda expression, is it? Lambda expression going to do average calculation. But here, be careful for this average calculation. It's not just the data, it also considers the weights. So the weights you defined. Okay, so this is kind of like you calculate GPA. It's not just you add all of them together, divide by the number of items, do the add. Here, when you do the average, you also consider weight, is it? Then you can apply, is it? So that's how this part shows. Okay, and then what is the next one try to show? Over here, it's regarding some stock data. Okay, stock data. And here it gave us the information, the last 4 rows. Okay, the last 4 rows. So Apple, Microsoft, I'm not sure what this is. That's SPX. Okay, the stock data from certain year and a certain day. That's what it shows. Okay, and over here, you can also use some function correlated. Okay, so data frame also has a function called correlated. So you can define one column correlated with the other column. You find the correlation coefficient. So kind of like that information. And then the group by. Okay, the group by what? Here it uses this function, is a lambda expression. And is based on what? On year. So initial data also contain day, is it? But when I do group by, I'm not worried about day. I'm just going to based on year. Is it based on year? So I'm going to apply with what? I also want to find the correlation with SPX. So that's why SPX, all data is 1.0. So it's based on it. And then all the Apple, Microsoft, and the other one. So they are the correlation relationship with SPX, is it? So you apply that correlation, okay? Okay, and you can also specify the correlation, is it? Specify 2 column, okay? And then this is correlation between Apple and Microsoft, is it? And that's by year already grew by, is it? And then you apply that lambda expression. Okay, linear regression, later on when we discuss model, we are going to discuss that. What next one try to show? The pivot table. And I remember previously we also discussed pivot table. Pivot table is also does aggregation, okay, versus pivot. That's 2 different, okay. Pivot table, it's aggregate, so it's based on mean. By default, it's based on mean, okay. And you can also specify other way, okay. So this pivot table is kind of you want to group by what? Day and smoke. Is it similar as what we previously learned, the group by? This pivot. You can also use the pivot table to do that, okay. Then you can specify the index, okay. And then next, let's see. Over here, the pivot table. So pivot table, this is the scalar data. You're going to do the group by, etc. And here is the index. And with the pivot table, you can specify the group by index and the column, etc. So it's going to based on, for the row, it says, okay, I'm going to group by time and day. For column, is it? I'm going to based on smoker, yes or no. Is it a smoker or non-smoker? So then it's very convenient. You use group by, is it? It can do multiple aggregation together, okay? And what the next one shows is, it's similar as previous one, but here you can also set margins argument as true or not. If you set margins as true, then you will have this extra column and extra row. It's called all. So it will do the total kind of, is it? So Anyway, so that's the all part, is it? But over here, it's for me, is it? Because it's not you add everything together, is it? Okay, but anyway, to give you an all column and row, is it? So similar here, is it? And this time, aggregation function, you also change. You're not going to use mean. You said, I'm going to do the length count. Is it do length count? And similar, you're going to have all the margin. Is it? So then you have this extra row and column. Okay. And what is the next one try to show is sometimes you have the field value. Is it the net value? What should we do? Is it? If you don't specify, they will be leave as they are, is it? But over here, you said, okay, with those field value, I'm going to use 0. That's how you come up with those 0 values, okay? So you can also specify with pivot table, okay, with field value. What is the next one try to show is about cross tab. So cross tabulation, okay. So what that is. So anyway, so here we have this data frame, is it pretty straightforward. And if you take a look, so nationality, is it, so some different country, handness, right hand or left hand, is it? And a lot of time you want to do what? You want to calculate frequency. Is it a frequency based on certain group? Is it? Then you can call cross tab. Okay. So here you said, okay, I want to find the frequency based on nationality or handless. Basically, it's also some group by, is it? But it's a frequency calculation. Then what you can do, if you take a look, so here you just call the group by, is it? You special nationality. So it's based on group of different country, is it? And handle it. And it count the number, is it? The frequency appeared, is it? And you also have the margin part here. Okay, so that's regarding that one. And over here for that tip one, is it? We can also, so you can specify like time and day, is it? And regarding the smoker, is it? And it's also do the frequency count, is it? So here it's frequency, okay, do the count. Okay, so that's regarding cross tabulation, okay, tabulation. Okay, so basically we complete the study